Hi loves, how are you? I hope that you are doing so well today. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Nina or Sinfulpluto, and if you are returning, welcome back. Thanks for joining us here again today, and I hope that you enjoy your stay here. Today we're going to be going over the weekly forecast for the dates between October 14th through the 20th. And then after that, we're gonna do a quick little pick a card to see what is further in store for you if you are interested in participating in that. So let's just go ahead and get started, my loves. I hope that your full moon in Aries was as great as I hope it would be. And if you haven't already, you can go ahead and check out the full moon in Aries video that I uploaded the other day. If you were interested to see, what is in store for you with this full moon and what you can release. If you haven't done any sort of releasing, I guess, ritual or just any sort of like releasing sort of thing for the full moon, you can still do that like a few days after the full moon. So if you're still wanting to do that, you feel more than welcome to do so. So let us get into this, my loves. Let us get into this. So what is in store for the collective? What is the collective energy between October 14th through the 20th? Well, that was way too many cards, dude. Also, if you're interested in this deck, I'll link it down below. Okay, let's try that again. What is the collective energy between October 14th through the 20th? What should we be expecting this upcoming week? What is in store for us? What do we need to be aware of? Okay, ooh, we got the Six of Wands reversed. Interesting. Okay. Six of Wands reversed. That fell out. And then we have the Fool. So Aries and Aquarius energy. We have the Seven of Wands. And then we have the Page of Swords. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have Temperance. Interesting. Okay. So the Six of Wands reversed signifies to me someone who feels like they're not getting enough recognition, or it could also be that someone is taking they're stealing credit from them, if that kind of makes sense. So maybe there's some sort of issue where someone is taking credit for all of the work that you're doing, whether it's at school or at a job or even within the family. It kind of just feels like someone is taking up the spotlight even though they don't really deserve it and even though they didn't really work for it. And that might cause a little bit of issues. It might feel as though there is some sort of opposition. And it might feel as though this person, this person obviously doesn't deserve it because they didn't work for it, right? And it seems that you kind of feel like you're being put in some sort of corner with the Seven of Wands here. You might feel as though you're being put in some sort of corner. You might feel really defensive. You don't really know what to do. And it's almost like people don't really believe you, or they kind of doubt you in your ability. They feel like you're kind of being a Debbie Downer, or thinking that this is like such typical bratty behavior almost. And it's the sense of like just frustration, kind of. It really does feel very frustrating having this sort of energy where you feel that someone else is taking credit for your work and no one is believing you. And everyone is saying, oh, you're just being bitter and all of this other stuff. And it's like, no, like I did the work. What do you mean? And it almost feels like this person, I don't want to say that they're necessarily intentionally doing it, but it kind of does feel like that. It almost does kind of feel like that. And if it's not like an intentional thing, I just think that this person is just like completely unaware as to how you feel almost with, because I have the Fool card, and that's kind of what it seems like this other person's energy is the Fool, is that they're just having a good time, they're having fun, they like that, they like to have the attention on them, they're being very silly, and they're just having a jolly old time. And I don't know, that I can see the frustration in that, because, you see them having a good time. You see them, having a blast and doing all of these things and being spontaneous and being the life of the party, but they're not even the ones who did anything. That's the whole point, is that they never did anything. They didn't do anything to deserve the recognition, and that's frustrating. But I feel that you will be able to think of a way to either, I guess, expose them, or just show that this is all of your work and you deserve the credit for it. And I say that because I have the Page of Swords, and the Page of Swords is someone really, really perceptive and intuitive, and I feel like this is kind of you seeing everything that this person is doing and seeing how other people are reacting, and you're just kind of waiting for the right moment or the right time to call everyone out, so to speak, or to take some action to prove that you were the one who, did all of the work, so to speak. And I feel like you're definitely not missing out on any details. I feel that you're seeing everything, everything that is happening, you're seeing and you're taking note of. And what anyone else is saying around you, you're like, oh, okay, noted. And then you just check it off your list. That's kind of what it seems like. For others of you, the Six of Wands reversed can signify that maybe there's something that you're doing behind the scenes. You don't want to be at the center of attention. And maybe this behind the scenes thing has to do with a new beginning, which makes sense because we had that full moon in Aries yesterday. So of course there's this new beginning. Maybe there's something that you did behind the scenes, or that you're doing behind the scenes this week, that is in relation to a new beginning, or doing something spontaneous. Doing something that requires a leap of faith. And that's something that you don't really want to tell anyone, because you want to just work in silence. You want to just prove yourself through actions and not through words. And so that could be, a bit of a thing that's going on. But with the Seven of Wands, there's a little bit of this defensiveness. Perhaps people might not support you entirely when you come out and tell them what this thing is, which is completely okay, because with the Seven of Wands upright, it tells me that yes, you're an underdog, but you will be able to overcome the situation. People might be closed off to the ideas of what you're doing, or the projects that you're getting into, or whatever the case might be, but you're going to overcome it. You're going to end up being victorious because the Seven of Wands is upright. If it was reversed, then it would signify to me giving up way too quickly, and because of that, not being successful. And so I really do feel like you're kind of not necessarily sitting in the sidelines this week, but it's more so you're just quietly watching and listening. You're just doing things, like I said, you're doing things behind the scenes. I really do feel that doing things in the dark almost is a lot more encouraged, and to allow your actions to speak louder than your words, and to just quietly do your thing, so that not only no one steals your idea or tries to take credit, they see how wrong they see how wrong they were when they were discouraging you from doing the thing. And I feel like you're just gonna end up really winning this week, and I love that. So let's get further into the week. So what other energies do we have? What other energies do we have for this week? Also, for some of you, an Aquarius or Aries might be important to you this week. They might play a big role to you this week because of the Fool here. Or maybe you have Aquarius and Aries placements. It could also be that there is another air sign in your life who's just playing a major role, or it could just be a major theme in your life of communication, some sort of messaging, talking, Maybe you're receiving like an important email. So let's see. I wonder if some of you are like doing some sort of scholarship thing. Like something about a scholarship. I don't know, that just came to mind. There's something about a scholarship that popped into my mind. Alright, what other energies do we have for this upcoming week of October 14th through the 20th? What other energies do we have? Okay, we got 2 cards that came out. Okay, so we have the Knight of Pentacles reversed and the Page of Cups reversed. Interesting. So we have these 2 cards right here. Alright, so we have the Knight of Pentacles and the Page of Cups reversed, which kind of signifies to me inconsistency and wanting to give up throughout this entire journey. So I feel like there is some sort of like... for some of you, I kind of see this temptation of giving up easily, of succumbing to the pressures or the oppositions or the obstacles that you might face this week. With the Knight of Pentacles reversed, it just signifies being very hot and cold about something. So like one day you're like all about it, you're very determined, you're ready to do it, and then the next day you're just like, oh, like I don't want to do it anymore. I'm tired of this. This is so boring. I'm not getting any results. It's that sort of thing. There's an inconsistency here, whether it's in terms of like being successful in something or, getting the recognition that you desire. I also feel like maybe some of you, because of the recognition that you're not getting or that you might not be getting, you might end up like making yourself like looking like a fool or trying to do something to be in the center of attention, like being like, hey, look at me. That's kind of like what it seems like, but you're not getting the attention that, you desire or that you want, or the recognition, acknowledgement that you are looking for. And that could be a little bit frustrating for you. And that could lead to this inconsistency here. And with this Page of Cups reversed, this signifies someone who, like, you have this dream, but you're just giving up on it too quickly. You lose interest in it too quickly. Like, you like give up on it before anything could really happen or come into fruition. Is kind of what it seems like. There's just this week kind of just seems like one of those weeks where, we have something that we want to do, but either there's too much not even too much opposition, but the opposition just seems a little bit too overwhelming for us, or the obstacles seem like a little bit too much, and for some of us it might be easier to give up and to just like let go rather than like push through it. And I encourage all of us to continue pushing through it and not allow our ego to rule us and not allow our ego to basically, like tell us what to do almost. And I think that it would be so much more gratifying when we get through all of these obstacles rather than giving up whenever things don't seem to be going our way immediately. Don't give up on your dreams or on your goals or aspirations, honestly. For some of us, we might need to build a little bit of emotional maturity in order to actually get through this week, which makes sense. Because we might be a little bit naive and thinking like, oh, this is going to be a breeze, like I don't have to do much. And then we get into the thing, or we get into the project and we realize that it's a lot more complex or in-depth than we initially thought it was. And so we have to just stick it through. Like if we want genuine results, if we want long-lasting results, we have to be patient, we have to be determined, we have to be diligent, and we have to continue on the path. Now is not the week to be taking any sort of shortcuts. This is not the week to be taking shortcuts. This is not the week to be cutting corners or anything like that. If you want something, you go for it. And if there are obstacles, that's okay. That's normal, and that is to be expected. But I'm saying that if you were to continue pushing through, if you continue taking leaps of faith, if you continue, putting yourself out there and being spontaneous and being diligent and consistent and patient, not only with yourself, but with everyone else and everything else in your life, you will see results. You absolutely will see results here. So that is what I have for you, my loves, for this weekly reading. So all in all, I encourage all of us to be consistent. I encourage all of us to be persistent, diligent, to not be so hot and cold. Do things by the book this week. Do things the way that they are expected to be done, if that makes sense. If there is a set rule that you have to follow when doing something, follow those rules. Read your instructions. Like, this is like everyday things where, for example, you're taking a test, right? And you just want to skim through the instructions. No, read through the instructions, read through all of the questions so that you know what is being asked of you so that you get the right answer, rather than just like rushing through the question, like skimming the last sentence and getting the wrong answer because you didn't read correctly and you missed out on a very specific detail. It's important for us to pay attention to detail this week. And for others of us, it's important that we build up emotional maturity and that we don't just lose interest whenever things seem a little bit like, seem a little bit hard, or when you're getting a little bit of resistance. This isn't the time to be getting the easy way out. This is definitely not the time to be taking those shortcuts, to be, if there's something that you want, it's not going to be achieved in the blink of an eye. It's not going to be like a wish granted and it's just like handed to you and it falls into your lap. No. If there's something that you want, you have to work for it. And some of you might have to do that behind the scenes, but it's more so the fact that if there's something that you want, then get it. And if you are trying to take the credit of someone else in your life who has done the work, maybe reevaluate on that and find a way where you are genuinely being credited for something that you have done and achieved and accomplished, if that makes sense. So with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this little collective reading. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if it resonates with you. Again, if you want to check out the Aries full moon reading, I'll probably put it in like that little thing at the top, the little card up top or something. So yeah, I think now we're just going to go ahead and get to the pick a card. So let's get right into that.
Alrighty, my loves, this week we have 3 piles from which you can choose. The first is the amethyst all the way on the left, the second is lapis lazuli, and the third is pyrite. So you can go ahead and close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and ask your spirit guides and angels which pile resonates with your energy. And once you have your answer, you can go ahead to the timestamp that I have down below and enjoy.
Hi Groupon, how are you? I hope that you are doing well. Obviously, if you chose this group, you chose the amethyst right here. So let's just go ahead and get right into your reading. So we have the Knight of Wands reversed, the Knight of Swords, the Six of Cups reversed, okay, the Devil reversed. So we have Capricorn energy here, the Two of Cups reversed, and Temperance, which is Sagittarian energy. So maybe you or another person is a Sagittarius. It could also just be the overall, like the energy themes that are going on this week. So let's get into it. So I have the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands reversed. This is so interesting to me. The first thing that came to mind when I saw this is like sibling rivalry. I don't know if there's some sort of argument that you are going to have with your sibling, or that you've already had with your sibling, or with a family member of yours, because this is like teenager, young adult right here, both of these. And I see the Knight of Wands reversed. um, being like, I can go two ways, either being very fiery and impulsive, not willing to listen to anyone, but the Knight of Wands reverse can also just be someone who like questions their competence, someone who questions their independence. I can see this as like somehow the Knight of Swords kind of overpowers this Knight of Wands, because the Knight of Swords is like kind of like a smartass, very intellectually competent, and they know how to like, I guess, persuade, I guess you could say, or just like get what they want. Like this person is very determined. They don't back down. They don't back down. So it's almost like whenever this Knight of Wands says something, like they're all about having this argument, and like they refuse to lose. Like they will always win. And so there's just like this imbalance in power. It kind of seems like, and this is something that like will not be let go of. I don't know if there was like an argument like way back when that just like there's still a lot of like resentment between you and another person, but with the Six of Cups reversed, it signifies like someone not willing to let go. It signifies just like the past that keeps on coming back up. You know, like you're not being able to move forward. You're not able to live in the present because this thing keeps on coming back up. It could also be that there's some sort of like nostalgia surrounding this relationship. If it's not an argument, I just feel like there's some sort of relationship where there's like nostalgia, or like, man, I wish that we could go back to these days because these were better times. Like we have better memories about this. But what I more so feel about this is that there's some sort of resentment. Like whenever the one person thinks about the other person, or like one sibling thinks about the other sibling, there's some sort of resentment that comes up, and you like look back at it and you just look at the whole situation with like resent, and there's just this anger that I keep on feeling, honestly. Like that's really what it kind of feels like. And we have the double reverse, which signifies, having to let go of like past temptations, or having to let go of like any sort of addictions, or like complacency, or I think I said temptations, but having to let go of anything that has kept you chained down for a while. And that makes sense because we have the Six of Cups reversed, which signifies like not being able to like move forward. And I feel like this week you're being encouraged to move forward, to let go of the past, because it's something that you keep on feeding into. You're not letting yourself move forward, or someone isn't letting themselves move forward from the past. They are just living in history, and it's not good for them. It's not healthy for them. And there's a need to break free from those chains. Otherwise, it could really catch up to them. I also feel like this could be related to, if it's not like a sibling rivalry thing, it could honestly just be like any sort of relationship. Whether it's like a platonic relationship or a romantic relationship, but it doesn't seem all that healthy because I have the Devil reverse and the Two of Cups reverse. This to me is like an unhealthy relationship. This is talking about how there's a need, it's very necessary for this relationship to break off because it doesn't seem like it's really going anywhere. These people aren't really like on the same page, they're not seeing things on the same page, and it just seems like someone is very much always winning these like competitions or arguments, or like power struggles, or whatever it is, and someone feels like they don't have any sort of independence. It feels like they feel just trapped, because with the Knight of Wands reverse, like I said, this is someone who questions their independence. This is someone who doesn't know like how to fly free. They don't know how to do things on their own, and so they go back to the like old way of doing things, I guess you could say. And with this Knight of Swords, this is someone who is unwilling to lose, refuses to lose any sort of argument, competition, whatever it is. That's really what it feels like. And so there's just this power struggle of not being able to move forward, of not being able to progress in life. And I feel that it's very necessary that this, I think, relationship is just broken off with this Two of Cups reverse, because it doesn't seem that either person is serving the other. It seems like an unequal exchange. It seems like it's not doing any favors for any person, specifically one person, and there's a need for balance to be found with this Temperance card. And I feel like with this relationship, it might have been very physically, the relationship might have been more physically oriented, or physical oriented, in the sense that like if this, for example, was like a friends with benefits sort of thing, or a romantic relationship or any sort of sexual relationship, it just feels like it was more so based on like the intimacy, the physical intimacy, rather than like the emotional or spiritual intimacy. And so I feel like there's a need to find balance within that because it doesn't seem like it's really all that working. It's like it's not fulfilling. It fulfills physical desires, temporary desires, but it doesn't feel long lasting. It doesn't provide any sort of long lasting fulfillment or long lasting happiness. And with temperance, there's absolutely like it's necessary for there to be balance in terms of emotions and spirituality. There's a need for alignment because it doesn't seem like things are in alignment right now. This can also say how there's a need for more patience. There's a need for compromise. If these people, if the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands want to continue being in this relationship, whatever relationship this might be, there's a need for balance and there's a need for compromise where both people have to listen to one another and reach a common ground rather than one person overpowering the other or vice versa. And I just feel like it just, like I said, like this relationship doesn't seem spiritually fulfilling, and that's kind of what someone needs right now. Someone needs a relationship that is spiritually fulfilling, not something that is just physically based, not something that is very casual, not something that, is more of a one night stand. And not to say that there's anything wrong with that, like that's not what I'm saying at all, but I'm saying that I feel that this Knight of Wands reverse specifically needs something that is a lot more spiritually inclined or emotionally inclined, because it just feels like this person is just like being pushed down in some sort of way, and I feel like they're doubting themselves a lot. They're doubting their competence, and I feel like this Knight of Wands is having a hard time moving on from this Knight of Swords because there's a sense of like there's a hard time in believing that this Knight of Wands will be able to make it on their own and like to be independent and to live on their own and to do their own things. And so a breakup could be ensuing, is that a word? This week, or there might have been already a breakup, in which case there's just a need for overall balance, and it makes sense because in these cards I literally have Judge, which is literally all about balance. It says balancing justice and compassion, managing fair distribution of power. So there's like it all falls in line. And another thing that really like freaked me out with these cards is that I have 2 child cards. So I feel like this really represents the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands here, where there's just a need to find balance between these two. The light attributes here, it says for child eternal, it says determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit, ability to see things with fresh eyes. However, the shadow attributes are inability to grow up and be responsible, extreme dependency on others for physical security. And I feel like this is the Knight of Wands reversed, like having a hard time being responsible and doing your own things and like being codependent. If there's any sort of codependent tendencies, especially with the Knight of Wands and this Devil card reversed, there is a need to separate and to build independence and to build responsibility and accountability for one's self rather than depending on anyone else around you. And we also have child divine. Light attributes, innocence, purity, and redemption suggest a special connection with the divine. Shadow attribute, an inability to defend oneself against negative forces. So that's why it's important to grow up and to take accountability for yourself and to be responsible for oneself and to be independent so that you know how to defend yourself, so that you know how to get yourself out of certain situations. But I just feel like it's just so funny to me how we have 2 child cards, because I just feel like it resonates with both of these knights. Where there's someone could be struggling to take accountability for themselves, especially with this Knight of Swords reverse, or the Knight of Swords upright. This person doesn't want to take accountability for themselves; they just want to win. But on the other hand, with this Knight of Wands reversed, they are having a hard time being independent, separating their identity from this Knight of Swords, and doing things for themselves. It kind of feels like with this 2 of Cups and the Devil reverse, like it's almost like they merged their identity with this Knight of Swords, or vice versa. But That's really what it seems like, and there's a need to separate. Like, there has to be a separation of identity, and there's a need for balance. We have Judge here, and we have Temperance, so there's absolutely a need for balance, and to maybe find some sort of compromise, or to find just like a common ground, a middle ground, um, just like finding justice in a situation. Like, there has to be equality within this relationship. If there's some sort of power struggle, that definitely has to be worked on. But I just feel like this is a relationship that isn't all that healthy, and it hasn't been healthy for a while, and there's no need to be clinging onto it for so long. And I understand, like, it's a lot harder than it's a lot easier said than done, and I understand, like, history and all of that. But if it's not a healthy relationship, there has to be moves that are made in order for separation to occur, um because it just doesn't seem like all that healthy, if I'll be completely honest with you. And then we have these two cards right here. We have Study and Strength. So the color blue and orange might be significant to you this week. It's so crazy how this thing works. The Knight of Swords is blue, and the Knight of Wands is orange. I just love when this shit happens. It's like I'm psychic or something. I don't know. Anyways, we have a study. Spirit has its own special way of letting you know that it's time to study again. From time to time, it's important to go back and learn, whether that's learning old ways in a new way, or old things in a new way, or learning something totally new. This is an opportunity to expand your mind. So whoever this Knight of Swords is, that's advice for you. It could potentially be an air sign, although it doesn't have to be. But I feel like that's specifically advice for this Knight of Swords. Butterflies could be significant to you this week, because I have this butterflies here. And then we have Strength. Strength comes from many sources. Staying strong brings confidence, conviction, and a balanced body, mind, and soul. Spirit has its own unique and beautiful way of replenishing your soul with strength on a continual basis. You're never really alone, as we are always with you. So that is specifically advice, I believe, for this Knight of Wands. Yeah, man. That's crazy. But yeah, that's what I have for you this week, Group 1. I hope that this resonates. Let me know in the comments down below if it did. Give the video a big thumbs up. Share with your friends, family, loved ones. Subscribe to the channel if you desire, and hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos. If you want to book a personal reading with me, you can do so at Sinfulpluto.com. The link will be down below if you are interested. Make sure to read all of the terms and conditions, the policies, and whatnot, so that you know what you're getting yourself into and you're aware as to what my process is like. If you want to follow me on social media, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Sinfulpluto. And I think that is all for you, my loves. I hope that you have a wonderful week. Please make sure to do your homework, drink water, do your laundry, make sure to eat 3 meals a day if you are able to. And self-care, man. Meditate, practice some yoga, all of that sort of stuff. So, yeah. With that being said, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey Group 2, how are you? I hope that you are doing well. Obviously, if you chose this group, you chose the lapis lazuli. So let's get right into it, my loves. So we have the 5 of Cups reversed, the Fool reversed, so Aries or Aquarian energy. We have the King of Cups reversed, water sign energy. We have the 10 of Swords reversed, we have the 6 of Wands reversed, and we have the 9 of Swords. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, okay? The immediate feeling that I get here is that you're kind of trying to ignore something. You're trying to ignore your emotions, trying to ignore the healing that has to take place for you. The 5 of Cups reversed signifies the healing, but with the Fool reversed, I kind of just feel like you're trying to ignore that. You're trying to have a good time. You're trying to kind of see the upper side of things. I also feel that with this Fool reverse, this to me is someone who wants to take a leap of faith. And someone who has been building up momentum, and then right at the moment that they're supposed to take that leap, they fall back and they falter and they go back into their old way of being and the old way of life. This could be in relation to a King of Cups in your life. I feel like this could be like a parent-child relationship. This could be in relation to that, like some sort of relationship that you have with like with a parent figure, probably maybe like a dad of yours or something, or it doesn't have to be, but someone of masculine energy or a water sign. But it feels like this person is just like very emotionally cold towards you. Um, and I feel like you kind of always find your way back to this person almost with this Fool reverse. You always find your way back to this person. It's almost like you can't really you can't leave their side. And I feel like you say these things like, I'm going to leave, like I'm going to be on my own. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to be independent. And then right at the moment, right when it's supposed to happen, you fall back and you go back to them. And it's kind of like this loop, I think, of wanting to take that leap of faith but never really doing it. And this person kind of just, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily seem as though they care much. It's almost like they have grown to expect you to do it, and it's like they're not really worried about what you do. They're not really worried about you leaving, because it seems like you haven't left thus far, and if you have, it seems like you're always finding your way back to this person, whether it's a parent or not. It could also just be like a romantic relationship of yours, a romantic partner of yours, or even a friend, where it just seems like kind of like on and off, or threatening to break up or threatening to go your separate ways in some way, but never really going through with it. And it almost just feels like you're ignoring your necessary healing. You're ignoring the fact that you have to go through a healing process. And it just feels like there's just this sense of, what is going on, what you could be doing or what you are doing with the Fool reversed. Because with the Fool reversed, I kind of see this as like someone who has a lot of experience. This is someone who, like they have grown a little bit. So I feel like there's an awareness as to what is going on, but not really any sort of action that is taking place. And there is this resistance to letting go of the past with this Ten of Swords reversed. There's a resistance. It's almost like with this Ten of Swords reversed that you want to keep on trying. You feel like you haven't quite reached all of the possible paths that you could be following here, if that makes sense. There's this sense of just like, you could be doing more, or you want to do more. It could be that you just don't want to give up. You don't want to surrender to it. You don't want things to end. You're still clinging on to any sort of life that this relationship or situation or job might have. But it just feels like this whole thing has kind of been dead for a while. And at this point, it would be like you're beating a dead horse with a stick. Because it just seems like no sort of progress is really taking place. And there's no sort of victory here. With the Six of Wands reversed, there isn't really a victory. It doesn't seem like you're really winning anything. No one is really winning in this situation. And I just feel like there's a lot of like dark thoughts with the Nine of Swords, a lot of dark thoughts, a lot of maybe anxiety or stress surrounding this situation, a lot of overthinking. It could be even an insomnia for some of you, like really like not being able to sleep because of this. Or maybe some of you are hoping that this King of Cups in your life is feeling this way, but I just feel like they're not even batting an eyelash. And I just feel like it doesn't seem like this person really cares. That whenever I see the King of Cups reversed, like they're emotionally detached. They don't care. They just come off very cold. Like they come off really emotionless. It really seems like. And it just doesn't care. It just doesn't seem as though this person is all that emotionally invested within the relationship, and they're kind of just like there watching you making a fool of yourself almost, which is really unfortunate. But it really just does seem like, there is, it just feels like you're making a fool of yourself. Some of you could be using humor or foolish behavior as a way to cope with your internal wounds with the Fool reversed and the Five of Cups reversed. And I also have the Fool card here with this other card. I literally have King. It's so funny how this came through. I literally have King and the Fool. So King of Cups, this is literally the King of Cups. There could be a King of Cups in your life who, has an excessive feeling of entitlement or rulership without restraint. That's what this says. And then the Fool says, using humor to wound rather than liberate, denial of your emotional truth. This to me just kind of feels like you're wearing some sort of mask. Again, you are trying to ignore your emotions. You're trying to ignore the thing that you need to heal. And maybe it's not intentionally ignoring it, but it's just like it seems as though you're pushing it to the side and not really wanting to face it, which I understand, but by doing that, you're not letting your old self die. You're not letting your old self just be at rest. And with this full moon in Aries, it's definitely time to release anything from the past. It's definitely time to release any sort of pent up emotions that you have been, bottling up inside of you for however long. And I feel like this is something that has just been overshadowing you. I mean, like, because we have like all of these bats flying over this girl or this woman, and it just seems like they're just overshadowing her, and they seem to follow her everywhere she goes, and she needs some sort of freedom. She needs liberation. I feel like there is a need for mental liberation from you where you just don't have to deal with this anymore. And I feel like the best way to do that is to properly heal what you have been feeling or what you have been experiencing. And obviously that's easier said than done, but it's still very possible. And I encourage you to put in the efforts to heal yourself, to allow yourself to feel your emotions without shame, and say that yes, it's okay to be feeling this way, but at one point or another you have to stop dwelling and start being proactive in your healing process. And I feel like at one point or another, sometimes you just have to stop blaming other people for the way that you feel, or for your stagnation, or for your lack of progress. And the reason why I say this is because I have a wounded child right here. And it says, blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, resists moving on through forgiveness. So that's kind of like what it seems like. And, the light attributes of this is awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children, opens the learning path of forgiveness. But I feel like with this entire spread, it really just seems like it does seem as though the shadow attributes are coming through a little bit more prominently. And, some of you could be trying to blame other people, not trying to take responsibility, not trying to take credit, I guess you could say, for for your wounds, and not trying to take accountability for yourself. And I understand that, and maybe you're not intentionally doing this, or maybe you're not even aware that you're doing this, but it just seems like in order for you to heal, in order for you to let your old self kind of just like die off and to accept a new chapter in your life, I feel like you're really being encouraged to take accountability for yourself, and to take action, to finally take the leap of faith to do something different, to finally take the leap of faith to start your healing process, to start growing on the journey of healing, even if it means leaving behind a very familiar past, even if it means leaving behind very familiar people in your life. And I don't mean that literally, although it very well could be that literally, but it's just like leaving behind just parts of your life that just don't belong to you anymore, that don't serve you anymore, that don't benefit you, that have served their purpose and it's over and done with, and now there's something different that has to be done. So that really is kind of like what it seems like. It comes to a point where you can only blame people for so long. You can only blame other people for so long for your wounds and for your traumas and all of that. And eventually you are going to have to start taking action. And this doesn't mean like you blame yourself. That's not what I'm saying. But, like, you can't help the way, or you can't control the way that people may have treated you in the past, but you are responsible for how you respond and how you approach the situation. It's really up to you whether or not you want to heal, or whether you just kind of want to hold a grudge and be resentful, which, I understand the want and desire to be very resentful and hold a grudge for the rest of your life, and, all of that. But at the end of the day, that ultimately doesn't help you. And it keeps you in a stagnant sort of space. So I think it's important for you to start the process of going through healing, and kind of like just stop ignoring your feelings. don't deny your feelings. Don't deny anything that has happened. If anything, acknowledge your feelings and, like I said, take action, take initiative to heal yourself, to heal your internal wounds, to heal your emotions, to go through the process, to go through the whole healing process, honestly. And it's not easy. Healing is rarely ever easy. But it's still very possible, and people do it all the time. So that's just something worth noting. And then we have this last card here, and it says Alchemist, transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. So, like I said, this is a really wonderful time for you to do what you have to do. I feel like some of you really do have that ability where you can transform your pain into your truth, or into light, or into healing wounds, or into energy that will actually benefit you. I really do feel like you have this ability to just maneuver through energy and to do more rather than just like sit there. I really do feel like you have this ability to take action and to change and to transform and to kind of go through a sense of metamorphosis. For some of you, though, the shadow attribute of this would be misuse of power and knowledge that come through spiritual practice. So the vibe that I kind of get from this is like hexing. That's not really going to help you in any way, in any sort of way. And at the end of the day, it's going to come back to you one way or another, whether you believe it or not. Karma always comes back to you. And you could be as well protected as you think that you are, and maybe the karma doesn't directly hit you, but it could get your immediate environment in some sort of way. So, just don't do it. So that could also just be like, a thing. But I really do feel that there is this ability to move forward and to get through the situation, to heal. And I feel like there is this ability to be more compassionate and empathetic. And I feel like here, like it says in Wounded Child, awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children, opens the learning path of forgiveness. So I really do feel like by going through the healing process, you'll be able to help other people who are going through the same thing and give them advice and, just give them your life experience in all of this. So that's one thing. So let's see. We have 3 spirit messages for you, group 2. First one is relationships. And it says, relationships are just mirror images of your own life, how you feel and treat yourself, as well as how you react and respond to different situations and people around you. Be aware that every relationship is an opportunity for soul growth. And then we have soul solitude. And it says, your soul needs attention. There are moments when it's important to get away, not just from the noise from the outside world, but to find a place where your soul can experience peace and quiet. A place for soul solitude. This is a time for pause. This is a time to pause, a time to reflect, a time for you. And then we have breathe. The breath is the vital bridge between your body and soul. It's the connection between the inside and outside, connecting you to the universe, spirit, and the divine source. The breath permeates your entire being with prana, which is the same life-giving force that nourishes everything in the universe. And that is all that I have for you, group 2. I really hope that this resonates. I hope that I was able to give you some decent advice for the upcoming week. If you like the reading, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear any of your feedback, really. Give the video a big thumbs up, share with your friends, family, loved ones, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos. And if you want to find me on Twitter and Instagram, you can do so at Sinfulpluto. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, you can do so at sinfulpluto.com. The link will be linked down below. Make sure to read the terms and conditions, rules, regulations, just like things like that. Just so that you know what you're getting yourself into, and you know what my process is like. And with that being said, my loves, I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. I am sending you so much peace and so many blessings. So, yeah, I will talk to you soon. Hey group 3, how are you? I hope that you are doing well. Obviously, if you chose this group, you went ahead and chose the pyrite. So let's go ahead into your reading. So first card we have is the Seven of Wands reversed. We have the Ten of Pentacles. We have the Eight of Wands reversed. The Queen of Wands reversed, the Hanged Man, which is like Pisces energy, so maybe you're dealing with a Pisces, or maybe you are one, or that's just like the overall energy going on. It's like Piscean energy, a lot of illusion, because the Hanged Man is Neptune, so like illusion, confusion, fogginess, idealization, like fantasizing, romanticizing, that sort of thing. And then we have the the Queen of Cups, excuse me. So, I feel as though there might be issues within the family, it seems like. We have the Queen of Cups, potential water sign, but someone very nurturing, a mother, someone very nurturing, very loving, very emotionally in tune, very sensitive, probably even psychic in some capacity. And we have the King of Wands, which to me would be like a dad, but this is someone who's very controlling and very persuasive. They know what they want and they won't stop at anything to get that. And that seems to be a little bit of an issue this week, is that this person doesn't know when to stop and they can't take no for an answer. So that's kind of like, that could be a little bit of an issue. And it seems like with the Hanged Man here, this person is stuck between a rock and a hard place. They don't really know what to do. So maybe this is like your parents who are like going through some sort of argument or something, or there's something going on with the parents and you're like kind of stuck between them and you don't really know what to do. There's kind of like this thing of like wanting to give up almost with this Seven of Wands reverse, like wanting to give up, not knowing what to do, kind of like wanting to surrender to the whole situation and not put any more effort into the whole thing. And with the King of Pentacles, or the King of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles, I think that this just confirms that this is like a family issue for some of you, or like a home issue. Something to do with security, something to do with either like status, reputation, stability, security, like I said. This to me just seems like the home. And like there's, a man and a woman here. So I just feel like this has to do with like parents. And it doesn't have to be like a heterosexual family or like parenting or whatever. Like this can be all around, but it just feels like a whole, like it feels like a parenting thing, it feels like a family thing, it feels like a home thing, it feels like a family issue is coming up for you guys, where there's the Queen of Cups and the King of Wands seem to be at odds with one another, and it feels like this Queen of Pentacles. I keep on wanting to say Queen of Pentacles. This Queen of Cups seems to, I think, want to protect this Hanged Man here. Is trying to protect them, which makes sense because if it's like a child of theirs, obviously they want to protect the kid. But it feels like the kid, like the child or like a younger person, is kind of coming through as the Hanged Man, feeling stuck in a situation, having their hands tied. They don't really want to take sides. They don't really know what to do. But I also feel like the Hanged Man just sees things from a different perspective than, these two parents here. And I feel like there's a need for objectivity and to be very mindful of not making any sort of impulsive decisions, especially with this Eight of Wands reversed, which signifies like a halt in communication. So maybe there is a halt in communication that comes through or that takes place this upcoming week between the parents or something along those lines. It could also just be that this is like kind of like a precaution to, not say anything impulsively, not do anything impulsively, to actually think it through. And this could also signify to me like having to re-navigate the situation so that you don't end up doing anything that anyone could like, so that no one does anything that they might end up regretting in the future, essentially. It's kind of like what it seems like. And it just seems like there's a lot of push and pull going on here, and like people don't really seem to be reaching any sort of agreement, it kind of seems like. But I feel like there is some hope in this situation because I look at the little flower and I look at the sunlight and it looks like, the ice is melting, I feel like over time, clarity will be reached, and over time things will be able to be mended and things along those lines. But right now it just seems like there's this sense of like being stuck, of not really knowing what to do, like being stuck, like being caught in the middle in a situation that does not involve you. Maybe it's like a divorce situation, or I don't know. But like I said, it has to do with the lines, like or not the lines, it has to do something with like family or the home or something along those lines. Something like, it could even be like a generational thing even. Yeah, it just feels like this King of Wands is like relentless, and they will not stop at anything to get what they want. They could be really impulsive, especially with this card and the Eight of Wands reverse. They could be really impulsive and end up making some sort of move that just does not benefit them at all, and like probably will not work in their favor. There could be some sort of text message or email that this person sends that might be a little bit harsh. Mm, this King of Wands like I said, the King of Wands is like really controlling, and they always get what they want. So like this person might be like demanding something from you, or like ordering or commanding you to do something, like, oh, like expecting you to obey orders. And there might be like a little bit of tension because you, or maybe like this other parent figure, doesn't want to do that, or something along those lines, which would obviously like cause anger within this King of Wands reversed. And from the King of Wands perspective, it seems as though the, I guess, like disobedience is like direct opposition to him, and like it directly hits their ego, it seems like, with the Seven of Wands reversed right above it, right above the King of Wands. It kind of seems like they feel as though everyone is like, going against them in some sort of way, because they have the King of Wands, right? And then right above that is the Seven of Wands reversed. So I feel as though this person is really trying to grasp on any sort of control that they used to have, it kind of feels like. And it's just not really working out in their favor. And so now they feel a little bit vulnerable, and they feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They're kind of, it feels like they're being cornered because they're running out of moves to make. And I feel like they're not helping their own case because they're making all of these impulsive moves, all of these impulsive words, and they're kind of like even incriminating themselves in some sort of way. Like they're exposing themselves with everything that they say, with every message, with every email, with every sort of thing that they communicate to you. And like they're just helping you build your case against this King of Wands is kind of like what it seems like, if that makes sense. And it just seems like they're just throwing out any sort of move, any sort of line, any sort of bait. Like they're literally, it feels like they're at their wits' end, where they're just throwing anything in to see if they'll make a catch, and it just doesn't seem like they will be, which is so interesting. I feel like this Hanged Man is trying to be neutral, or is being neutral, but the Queen of Cups is kind of like not necessarily overshadowing them, but just like being very protective of the Hanged Man. Kind of like it's like on their side. Like if this is like a custody issue, I feel like this Queen of Cups is the one who has the kid. And the King of Wands reverse is making all of these demands and like trying to be in control, but they're just completely out of control. And I feel like the longer that this goes on, the more like unhinged they make themselves look, and the less they help their case. So there's that. And then we have, it's so crazy to me how this is all just like aligning, but then we have Queen. We have Queen here. So Queen of Cups. It says, radiates the regal feminine, uses her benevolent authority to protect others. And then the shadow attributes would be, becomes arrogant when authority is challenged, controlling and demanding. So that could be something that is coming through. But I more so think because I mean I'm just saying it because the Queen of Cups is upright. I'm saying that this is more so like regal feminine, uses benevolent authority to protect others. That's kind of what it feels like, is that this Queen of Cups is just being protective over this hanged man or over their child or whoever this is that this hanged man represents, because I really do feel like it represents a specific person and not necessarily just an energy. That's really what it feels like. I feel like this Queen of Cups is very protective over the Hanged Man because the King of Wands reversed is just like going bonkers. And then we have Prince right here. And it says, light attribute, romantic charm and potential for power. Shadow attribute, using power for self-aggrandizement. Aggrandizement. I hope I'm saying that word correctly. I'm probably not. But anyways, what this kind of is to me, what does this seem like to me? This seems like the King of Wands reversed. This to me seems like the King of Wands reversed, where they're trying to be charming, they're trying to get their way. They're, they're very like when I see the King of Wands reversed, this is someone very optimistic. This is someone very enthusiastic, very like what's the English word for it? I don't know how you say it in English, but in Spanish it's like simpático. Like he seems very simpatico. I don't know. But just like very enthusiastic, very exciting, very charming. Life of the party. Everyone loves this person. But the reality is that this person is just like very fiery, very impulsive, a hothead, very arrogant, very stubborn. Very controlling, very demanding, very dictatorial, like dictator almost. And they have to have, like, it's like they have to have instant gratification. They have to have exactly what they want. Otherwise, they will go off. And so I feel like this person will try to show that mask of enthusiasm, of charming, of like, they'll try to use their charm in this situation, but I feel like the true intentions is that they want to be in control. They're trying to regain control. It's just like they're saying that they act like they have flowers behind their back, but really it's like a weapon. And I'm not saying that they literally have a weapon behind them, but that's kind of like what it feels like metaphorically. Like they're hiding something behind their back that really isn't all that good. And then we have Father, which again is the King of Wands reversed. And here it says, talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light with a tribal unit. Those are the light attributes, but the shadow attributes are dictatorial, control, abuse of authority. So that's really what it seems like, is it's an abuse of authority within the home. Yeah. And I just feel like this person just has to go down. They really do. And we have teacher, light attribute, ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. So, and then the shadow attributes are manipulating or abusing students, teaching negative traits, and destructive skills. So that's there right here. I feel like this to me kind of just talks about how this is just like a whole teaching lesson in the first place, or like overall, this is just like a lesson to be learned from this situation. I feel like this just gives you a new sense of experience. This is like a new skill. This gives you wisdom over the situation, and I just feel like it's like a learning curve. No, it's just like a whole teaching experience for this situation. I also feel like with this teacher card, it could also be that some of you might need to talk to some sort of mentor or advisor, or like a professional in a certain field, in order to gain advice specific to the situation and like how to like win the situation. For some of you, this could be like a lawyer even, but like someone in a certain profession that would help you kind of win this sort of situation that's going on here. So next we have ground. Okay, so these are all spirit messages that have come through for you. So let's get into it. First we have ground yourself. And it says, being distracted, unfocused, tired, irritated, and impatient are all signs that you are ungrounded. Now is the time to become centered and allow Spirit to help you ground yourself and reconnect with the divine source. And then we have Hello from Heaven. I love this card. It says, your loved ones in the spirit world want to connect with you as much as you want to connect with them. They know you've been thinking of them, and they're sending you signs and symbols to show you how much they love you, to prove they're with you at this time. So if some of you are calling on your spirit guides and angels to help you with the situation, pay attention to to any sort of synchronicity, signs, symbols, like it says, because they're definitely trying to talk to you, and they're trying to guide you in some way. So definitely continue to call on them and ask them for advice and all of that sort of stuff. And then we have love right here. And it says, love is the foundation of your existence, and you're just as worthy of receiving as you are of giving in love and compassion. While love can be a beautiful emotion, it is equally a form of energy that propels you through life. So, that is all I have for you, my loves. I really hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope that it resonates with you. If it does, leave a comment down below, or just leave your feedback in general as to, what this reading meant for you. And give the video a big thumbs up, hit the share with your friends, family, loved ones, and hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification to know when I upload my videos. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, you can do so at sinfulpluto.com. The link will be down below. If you were interested in any of the decks that I used today, they will all be linked down below. If you want to find me on social media, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Sinfulpluto. And I think that's it. So, I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week, my loves. Please take care of yourselves. Do all of the self-care sort of things. And, yeah, I wish you good luck. Love you.